Howdy.
Howdy. Can I tell you something?
Sure. Anything you like.
It's kind of a long story.
I got plenty of time.
I knew these people.
What people?
These two people. And they were very much in love with each other. And the girl was quite young, 17 or 18, I guess. And the guy was quite a bit older. He was a bit raggedy and wild. And she was very beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
And together, they made everything a kind of an adventure. And she liked that. You know, just an ordinary trip down to the grocery store was full of adventure. And they laughed at the stupidest things. He loved to make her laugh. And they didn't care much for anything else because all they wanted to do was to be with each other. They were always together.
Sounds like they were very happy.
Yeah, they were. They were real happy. And he loved her more than he ever felt possible. And he loved her so much that he couldn't stand being away from her during the day, so he quit his job just to be with her. And when the money would run out, he would get another job, and then he'd quit again. But soon she started to get worried.
About what?
Not having enough money, I guess. Not knowing when the next check was going to come in.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, and he got kind of torn inside.
How do you mean?
Well, he knew he had to work to support her, but he couldn't stand being away from her either.
I see.
And the more he was away from her, the crazier he got. I mean, like, this time he went really crazy. He started to imagine all kinds of things.
Like what?
Well, he started thinking that she was seeing other men on the sly. He'd come home from work and accuse her of spending the day with someone else. He'd start to yell at her and smash things in the trailer.
The trailer.
Yeah, they lived in a trailer home.
Excuse me, sir, but were you in to visit me the other day? I don't
Nope.
mean to pry, but...
No?
Oh. I thought I recognized your voice for a minute.
No, wasn't me.
Okay. Please go on.
Anyway, he started to drink again real bad and stay out late at night to test her.
What do you mean, test her?
To see if she'd get jealous.
Ooh.
Yeah. He wanted her to get jealous, but she didn't. She just was worried about him, and that got him even madder.
Why?
Well, because he thought that if she never got jealous of him, then that meant that she didn't really care about him. Jealousy was a sign of her love for him. And then one night, One night she told him she was pregnant, and she was about 3 or 4 months pregnant, and he didn't even know it. And that changed everything. He stopped drinking, he got a steady job, and he was convinced now that she loved him because she was carrying his child. And he was going to dedicate his life to making a home for him. But then something funny started to happen.
What?
He didn't even really notice at first, but she started to change. From the minute the baby was born, she got irritated by everything around her. She got mad at everything. Even the baby seemed to be an injustice to her. And he tried to make her happy. He'd buy her things, take her out to dinner once a week, but nothing seemed to satisfy her. And so for 2 years, he did everything he could to try to pull them back together to the place that they were when they first met, but he knew it was never going to work out, so he hit the bottle again. But this time it got mean. This time when he came home late at night drunk, she wasn't worried about him or jealous, she just was enraged. She accused him of holding her captive by making her have the baby. She told him that she dreamed about escaping, that all she dreamed about was escape. She told him how she saw herself running naked down a highway, running across fields, across riverbeds, always running. And always when she was just about to get away, he'd stop her. She would just get away and he would be there to stop her. He'd appear, and he'd be there and he'd stop her somehow. And when she told him these dreams, he knew they were real. He knew she had to be stopped or she'd disappear out of his life forever. So he knit a cowbell to her ankle. So if she tried to escape and run down to the highway, he'd hear her, but she got wise and she learned to muffle the sound of the cowbell by stuffing a sock in it. But one night, the sock fell out while she was trying to escape down to the highway, and he caught her. He caught her and he dragged her back to the trailer and he tied her to the stove with his belt. And he just left her there and went back to bed and lay down and listened to her scream. He listened to his son scream, and he was amazed that he didn't feel anything anymore. All he wanted to do was sleep. And for the first time, he wished he were far away, lost in some vast country where nobody knew him, somewhere where there was no language or streets. He dreamt about this place even though he didn't know its name, and when he woke up, he was on fire. He saw blue flames burning the sheets of his bed, and he ran through these flames towards the only two people he ever loved, but they were gone. His arms were on fire, and he threw himself outside of the trailer, and he rolled around on the wet ground. He got up and he ran. And he never looked back at the fire. He just ran. He ran until the sun came up and he couldn't run any further, and when the sun went down, he ran again. And for 5 days he ran like this until every sign of man had disappeared.
Travis.
All right, everyone, welcome again to the Network Performing Arts Production Workshop 2018. This production, which you just saw, was a collaboration between both New World Symphony, actor Paul Tay, who's here on our side, and the University of Tampere, which I'm probably not pronouncing very well, but they're very forgiving and very great colleagues. So I'm going to introduce Tom Corman and Matthias Paulo. Tom is acting as a stage consultant.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I'm
So
something.
that'll work.
Yeah.
And Matthias oversaw production of this leading up to the show. So we have our colleagues in Finland still there, and if we can get them on screen, they are here to answer any questions, but I'm going to let Tom speak a little bit about the approach and how this was done.
I don't work at the University of Tampere. I'm at Coventry University, and I'm actually going to talk this afternoon in the ANS panel about international collaboration. But for the past 3 years, we've been working together on what we call immersive telepresence in theatre. Usually doing mainly Shakespeare plays and kind of the rehearsal process. And I spoilers for this afternoon. I'm trying to say something and say nothing at the same time. This is a bit different. Finland and Coventry are 1,200 miles apart. Obviously Miami and Coventry are a little bit further apart, and we're also using the Nimbra system, which Tampere have used as part of the Nordic Theatre Network, and so one of their interests is also motion capture and kind of... so you want to say a little bit about the Tampere kind of Nordic partnership project with Nimbra?
Yep. Hello, Matthias. Yeah, we are building up a network within the Nordic countries with several institutions and schools that have their own Nimbras. And we had a TNT, Theatre and New Technology project a couple of years ago. Lasted for 2 years. We used mocap and used Nimbras and a lot of stuff. And then we went on and bought a Nimbra, and pretty many others also bought it, and we're currently building up the network.
Yeah. Okay.
Mikko, I'd like to also introduce Mikko Kainen, who is creative directing this performance all the way from Tampere. So Mikko, if there's anything you'd like to add about the process of putting this together, or anything you'd like to share with the audience, please feel free.
Yes, one thing I want to say that it all started as a pedagogical project, teaching actor students online, and we were trying to kind of create tools how to have theater workshops online where we could teach everything that is possible to teach in real life, and creating tools for that. And now we are kind of moving to these really low latency connections, so we could someday perform around the world without that we should fly and destroy our climate forever. So we could fly less, but be in connection more. We need to connect more we need to have much more cultural exchange, so we can lessen the bigotry and all this rising thoughts that people should just stay in their own country and stick together. So we've got to have artistic exchange, but that's a problem at the same time when we should fly less and less. So these two goals we're trying to combine to develop more networking tools in performing arts.
Thank you, Mikko. We can open it up for questions. We have a little bit of time for that, so does anyone have a burning question? It can be for actors, producers.
I have two questions. So one question is, where was the musician based? He was in Tampereen. And I wanted to ask the actor of how was his experience doing this? Was it the first time for you?
I can
If
get
it
them.
wasn't, yes, thanks. If it wasn't the first time, or it was the first time, how does it feel not having the other actress in the room and the musician also?
It was my first time doing something like this, and we rehearsed, I think 4 times altogether, twice here, once this morning, once yesterday, and then Miko and Katarina and myself had rehearsals online with a bit of a delay last Thursday and Friday. And yeah, no, I've never done anything like this. I think the closest to it would be, you know, if you've done any kind of like voiceover or dubbing work like that, where you kind of just show up and they throw the script at you and then they start recording your voice and you're like, oh, I'm glad I know how to read. And in this situation, it becomes about, for me, it was about balance. I mean, hearing the guitar for the first time yesterday, knowing that it was going to be coming in and then listening and waiting for it. And then today, not letting it inform me, but like trying to allow it to be another voice within what's happening, because it's so integral to the connection between the two characters, and I think to the audience. It helps, the music helps fill the gaps for you. I mean, I don't, that's what I was thinking as performing it. I don't know if that helps.
Katharina, is there anything you would like to add?
Well, I don't know. I've done this a couple of times before, and I think it's very interesting for an actor to do this mocap, because it's so different, but it got a lot of like possibilities. But you have to be so aware of your body, because if you're doing this kind of move, so it goes like maybe your hand goes through your body or something like that. Or
Yeah.
if I went to sit on the floor, then it goes like weird, yeah, twisted mess. But yeah, and I think it's really interesting.
Any other questions from audience members?
Really far away.
Can you say a little about the artistic choice to use the mocap avatar?
Sure. In the original movie, the kind of aesthetic distance between these two people was created by stripping booth. So they were in kind of very different spaces. The male is kind of client in the stripping booth, and the female is like working there, and they should not have any connection. So this is like, I was trying to fantasize or trying to figure out what would be the aesthetic equivalence to this kind of work or meeting now, today. And since the distance is thousands of miles, and this kind of happens in some kind of nowadays or near future, where these stripping booths might be virtual or some kind of mixed reality spaces. So this was kind of my thought and intent to bring it to this day.
So Justin, for those of us who are not entirely sure what we were seeing, was our first character an avatar that our actress was embodying, and then
Yes.
she came back in her real form?
Yes.
And I'm curious if that was a fascinating director decision to have her come back in real life, and I'd love to hear a little more about that.
Thank you. When we were experimenting this, and Matthias and I, we were talking about this, and we thought that what is human is the question. Is the avatar human? Is she an actor, the human? Who is the male referring to? And since we are in the business of theatrical art, which always asks these fundamental questions, and has always been doing that. So I think it's more than I can answer your question, is that it's a good thing that I raised this question in you, maybe like this.
Yeah. We got time for one more.
Hi. I'm curious, what is the actual hardware suit for the motion capture? And was there a delay in the movement? And was that a problem for figuring out the acting and the movement versus when you saw it on the screen?
I have to ask our technician, Jussi. This is OptiTrack suit, right? And so Jussi can come here and tell us it's an OptiTrack suit which is connected to Unity model.
Yeah. We are using the Unity game engine to create the 3D environment. We are using OptiTrack motion capture suits and cameras to track the human body and animate the avatar. And the delay from the actor to the computer is, well, it's really really small. But the delay from Tampere to Miami and back to Tampere, we checked that it was like 0.6 seconds or something like that.
So yes, the delay from the suit to computer and what we see, it's like humans can. It's so small that you can't see it. It's milliseconds. Yeah. But then when the light signals goes from Tampere to Miami, it's about 0.3 seconds, and when it comes back here to our monitor, it's another. So everything is happens in under 1 second. So the actors were in these situations really, they had a true connection and they could react to each other's lines, and well.
But it felt weird because the camera is straight there, but what if I wanted to have connection to Paul, I needed to look at there. So I actually don't have this eye connection at all. But yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Really appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you.